Hello, Fred Douglas. Welcome to another music lesson here on YouTube. So for today's lesson, we're going to be continuing learning a little bit about African music and African instruments. So if you don't know or you haven't been following along, our One Book, One Seaford has been going on for a few weeks now. And we are reading the book together called The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. And I'm not going to talk about too much of the story because that's for you to read and for you to enjoy. But the story takes place in a country in Africa. And so today we already talked about a few of these different African instruments. But today we're going to talk about the Danoon right here. And then we're going to do some drumming challenges together or some body percussion challenges together. So let's get started with that. As I said, the first instrument that we're looking at is the Danoon. So we're going to watch a short little video of a little bit about the instrument and how it's played and where it comes from. So let's take a look at that short little video right now.
Whoa, look at that! The Danoon is a membranophone from Guinea or from West Africa. Now, it's a double-headed drum. Double-headed? Ah! It's a monster! Run for your lives! Get off me. No, a Danoon is a double-headed drum, which means there's a skin on the bottom and the top of the drum shell. Oh, and by the way, drum shells can be made from barrels or cylindrical shaped objects. Danoons come in 3 different sizes, and together they form a family.
Let me tell you a story about the Danoon family. Where's my book?
A long time ago, far, far away, in a small house, in a small forest, in a small country, lived the Danoons. There was baby Danoon called the King Kenny, who talked with a very high voice.
There was the mummy Danoon, who talked with a medium voice and was called the Sengba. And the lowest Danoon of them all was called the Danoonba. And he talked with a very low voice, and together, Sangba, the Kenkeni, and the Dundumba formed a lovely Danoon family, and every day made sweet rhythms together. And they lived happily ever after.
There are 2 different styles of performing on the Danoon. Ballet and traditional style. Now, ballet style is when a little ballerina climbs up onto the top of the Danoon and does a twirl, and it's all really... Whoa, that was weird. No, ballet style is when all 3 drums are placed on the floor or in a rack, and one player plays all of them at the same time. Now, in traditional style, one Danoon is placed horizontally on the floor or in a cradle, and he plays the Danoon with one hand and a bell with the other. It's simple, really. Okay, let's review. What a fascinating percussion instrument. The Danoon, a membranophone found in Guinea and West Africa. Some cool facts to remember are, it's a double-headed drum, meaning there's a skin over both the top and bottom of the drum. There are 3 sizes of Danoons. The smallest is the Kenkeni. The middle-sized drum is the Sangba, and then the big daddy is called the Danoonba. There are 2 ways of playing this drum. Ballet style or traditional style. And the player uses sticks, mallets or a wooden beater to strike the drum, creating sound. Duh, it's noon, time to play your Danoon.
Alright, so we just watched that short little video. Now let's take a look at our 360 view of the instrument. So you can see here we have that stick or that beater that they talked about. That's one way to play. And then there is also that little bell and then that metal stick to play the bell. So like we watched in the video, there's a few different ways to play. but one of them is where one hand you have the beater and you're playing on the drum, and your other hand is playing on the bell. So let's read a little bit about the Dunoon. Dunoons are double-headed drums. Double-headed meaning they have cow skin stretched across the top and bottom of the drum shell. So the top and bottom is the drum head. So it's the top and bottom, like they said, the top of the drum shell. The top of the drum head is where you hit it with those beaters. And then the drum shell is what goes around the outside. That cylindrical body is the drum shell. The drum skin is pulled tight with ropes at the sides of the drums. These ropes hold the skin in place and create the pitch of each drum. Players add bells to their Dunoons to add variety to its sounds. So you see that there's going up and down is that string, and they're connected to both the top head and then the bottom head of the drum, and that's how they're staying in place and staying on that cylindrical shell. And like we watched in the video, a lot of times the players will have 3 different sized drums. So if it's a smaller one, then it's a higher pitch, like we explored before. If you saw some of our previous experiments here on this YouTube channel, we experimented a lot with different pitches and so on. So the smaller the instrument, the higher the pitch. There's a medium instrument that's a nice middle pitch. And then the bigger drum, the biggest drum of them all, is the lowest pitch. So you have small, which is high, medium, which is just normal, and then big, which is low pitch. Alright? So, like we said before, there's a few different ways to play it. So with the beaters, that you hit the head of the drum, and there's also the different tones that you can get with the bell and so on. But let's go ahead and move on to a few of the challenges that we have. So this video is for all grades, grades 3, 4, and 5. We're going to have easy, medium, and hard challenges. So the easy challenge will be great for anyone in 3rd grade. The medium challenge will be great for anyone in 4th grade. The hard challenge will be great for anyone in 5th grade. So you can choose, you can start on easy and work with me through the whole video to do all of these challenges, or you can choose if you want to do easy, medium, or hard. So let's get started with our easy challenge first.
Here's challenge number 1. Studies drums and percussion at university. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So for this challenge, let's click down here to reveal what he just played. Alright, so you can see that right here on the side, the blue, the green, and the red are the 3 different sizes. So what we're going to do, if you have drums yourself, if you have maybe 3 different sizes of drums, you can try to do exactly like he's doing. But for today, I'm going to play on some body percussion instead of drums, which is going to work just as well as the drums. So let's look at this. Our blue, or our bottom row, the Dunoon bus, so that was the biggest drum, we're going to do tapping on our legs. And now let's go up to our green line. This is going to be clapping. Alright, and then that's it. That's all we need for now. Is blue is tapping on our legs, green is clapping. So the easy one does look pretty easy. All we have is ta, 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 ta. And this little 7 with that weird little symbol that kind of looks like a sideways division sign, that just means that we're repeating over 7 times this pattern that's right before it. Alright, so this one is pretty easy. Let's do it again. We're going to start with the green or clapping. 1, 2, ready, go. Ta, 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 ta. Clap, tap, clap, tap, clap, tap. Now let's go ahead to our medium challenge. This one is going to be, well, let me pause it. It's going to be quite a bit harder than challenge number 1 or the easy version.
Here's challenge number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright, so down here, let's reveal our musical map. So this one, if you see already, there's a lot of notes that maybe you're not so familiar with, especially for 4th grade. So let's just practice. Let's break it up into 2 different chunks. So remember, our blue was tapping, and then our green was clapping. So let's do it a little bit slower, first chunk or the first half. So I'm going to do tap. How about listen and then echo? I know you can't see me tap, but just listen. Alright, just that. Listen again. Now let's do it together. 1, 2, starting tapping. Alright, one more time. Listen first. Starting tapping down on your legs. Alright, your turn. Let's do it a few times, repeating it over and over so we can get the hang of it. Nice and slow. 1, 2, starting tapping. And before we continue with the second half of this rhythm, I just wanted to tell you very quickly that if you have any of our little DIY instruments that we worked on any of the previous videos, you can also use these to play our rhythm challenges here. So for example, this is our little rattle that we did last week for our African instruments. So if you want, you can do this one. 1, 2, ready, go. So it doesn't matter whatever you have at home, if you have instruments or if you're using body percussion, any of these will work. Alright, now let's move on to the second half of our pattern here. So we did blue, and that's just tapping. We did green, which is clapping. But now the red, we're adding one more new one for the medium challenge. It is snapping. Alright, so let's just do these first 2. So we have ta, tapping, and then ti, clapping. Ta, ti, ta, ti. Now let's do the red snapping part. This one's a little bit tricky. Alright, now let's do it together, just that snapping part. And if you can't snap very loudly, that's okay. Just do your best, or at least do the movements. Or in this case, you can add. Alright, so let's do that red part. Listen first. Your turn. Ready, go. Alright, now let's put it all together. Listen first. We have tap, clap, clap. Alright, so now let's do it together. Nice and slow. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so now last thing we're going to do, let's put the whole entire medium challenge together and do the whole way through. I'm going to do it one time and then you can copy me after that. Alright, so now it is your turn to try and follow along. I will tell you when to start. Let's do it together. Nice and slow. 1, 2, ready, go. And repeat. Now let's go ahead and move on to our last hard challenge.
And here's challenge number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright, so now for this challenge, the rhythms, if we're looking down here at our little music down here, the rhythms might look a little bit harder, but actually I think this pattern is a little easier because we're not moving up and down so fast between the tapping and the clapping and the snapping. The end might be a little bit tricky, but let's do it together. Again, breaking it up into 2 little chunks. Let's do the first chunk first. Listen, and then repeat. Alright, first chunk, just listening. And that's it. So we have tap, clap, tap, tap, tap. Alright, now it's your turn. 1, 2, starting tapping. And again, ready, go. Now this time, let's keep on repeating it. So looping, repeating over and over again. 1, 2, starting tapping. Alright, so now let's look at our second pattern here. If you notice, right at the beginning, we have a very similar, if not exactly the same, rhythm pattern. So we have this little guy that has 2 blue and then the green, which is exactly the same thing how this one starts, but then we change a little bit to the snapping pattern. So just listen to the second part of this pattern. One more time. Alright, so now let's do it together. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so now let's try to put the whole entire thing, part 1 and part 2 together. Whole thing, 1, 2, ready, go. Alright, last thing we're going to do, since the way we did it is a lot slower than our challenge, let's try and play along with the challenge with body percussion. Alright, Mr. Vinay here will let you know when to start.
And here's challenge number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alrighty, so that was it for our challenges today. We did some challenges, learned about some world music of Africa. learned about the danoon, which is a type of drum. And that is it. So I hope you enjoyed and take care. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.